life.
وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Last night's class we discussed many rulings of Al-Hajj. مسائل وأحكاما مهمة في الغاية فيما يتعلق بالحج وأنواع النسك والسعي والطواف والمبيت إلى آخره. ذكرناها بشيء من التفصيل بالبارح. وأما الآن حديثنا في هذا المساء المبارك إن شاء الله تعالى هو عن العمرة المفردة. باب العمرة المفردة. طيب, we talked about Hajj last night. We spoke on Muzdalifah, Arafah, Sa'i, Tawaf, Al-Mash'ar al-Haram. Alright? We spoke on Ziyarah, Tawaf al-Wada', etc. That's what we talked about last night. We talked about the hadi, the mutamatти', and the animal, etc. Now what we want to discuss is the author, Shawkani rahimahullah. He says, Bab al-Umrah al-Mufradah. The chapter of the sole Umrah, or the separate Umrah, or the singular Umrah. In other words, I don't want to make Qiran. I don't want to make Ifrad, and I don't want to make Tamattu. But I'm going there just to make Umrah, Mufrada, Umrah. Or, أنا قد حجيت. الحمد لله أديت النسك. والآن أنا أنوي عمرة مفردة. عرفت كيف؟ بغض النظر عن الوقت. هل طال الوقت أم قصر الوقت؟ بغض النظر. المهم العمرة المفردة قد يؤديها المسلم وهو ما زال. Even if a person did make qiran or tamattu or ifrad, now they wish to perform an umrah mufrada. Regardless of how much time went by, regardless, when I get into the issue, is that even permissible? Is it from the sunnah to do hajj and umrah separately on the same trip? هل فعلها السلف? Did the salaf do that? Was it a practice of the sahaba? Did they know that? In which a person goes to make hajj and umrah and then performs another umrah. Or umratain في رحلة واحدة أو ثلاثة إلى آخره. And many people, they make 2 or 3 umrahs. This is for myself, this is for my deceased grandmother, this is for my father, this is for the Muslim. What is that from the sunnah? We're not here to discuss that. Al-Muhim, umrah mufrada. An umrah that's isolated, that's not pertaining to the hajj. Whether you went to just make umrah during hajj season or before or after what? Hajj season. Khair, inshallah. The author rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, and before we move forward, فيما يتعلق بالعمرة, فمن أهم المسائل المتعلقة بالعمرة، هل العمرة واجبة أم مستحبة؟ على قولين مشهورين معلومين عند أهل العلم، ولكل من الفريقين من الأدلة ومن وجهات النظر ما تقوي وتبرر رأيه ومذهبه فيما يتعلق بذلك. ولو حتى لو قال قائل بوجوب العمرة يعني لم يكن أبعد، ما أبعد. لو قال بوجوب العمرة يكون قوله له يعني شيء من الاعتبار بلا شك. ومن قال بأنها مستحبة وبأنها فضل وبأنها سنة فلا يبعد قوله بذلك، فيعني لا يخرج حكم العمرة عن الاستحباب المؤكد أو الوجوب بإذن الله تعالى. هذا خلاصة ما قاله العلماء في هذه المسألة فيما يتعلق بوجوب العمرة من عدم وجوب العمرة. With regards to, is Umrah obligatory? And so do you have to make Umrah? Is it mandatory or is it just recommended? That's a long discussion among the ulama of Islam. And some of those fuqaha, they hold the view that Umrah is obligatory once in a year. I mean, once in a lifetime. Just like Hajj is obligatory once in a lifetime. And then there are others who say no. The only time it's obligatory if a person makes it obligatory with another. يلزم نفسه بالعمرة يعني نظر لله أن يعتمر. To make an umrah on yourself. Or if the person is making tamattu, etc. But just the sheer Umrah, they say, it's not obligatory. So ulama, they differ over that view. And no matter what view you take, because both sides have proof, and there's evidence on both sides, there lies no doubt that the Umrah is something which is highly recommended. Period. So it's either obligatory or at least highly recommended. That's the summary of that. So that's one issue of Umrah. Another issue of Umrah is waqtul Umrah. When can you or should you make Umrah? We know in general Umrah can be made during any day of the year, with exceptions to some days, according to some scholars, when you cannot make Umrah. Okay? However, the vast majority of the days, whether we say there are 365 days in a year, less or more, Hijri, the Chinese calendar, this calendar, different calendars, calculations, Al-Muhim, the majority of the days of the year, 360, 350, you're going to be able to make Umrah. But there are some scholars who hold the view, from the Sahaba and others, is that there's certain days during the year which you cannot perform Umrah. Tayyib. Ruling number 3, المسألة الثالثة. هل يحسن تقديم العمرة على فعل الحج يعني حجة الإسلام؟ هل يحسن هذا؟ هل يجوز؟ هل يكره? Is it good? Is it recommended? Is it permissible to make Umrah before you've made the obligatory Hajj? And it's a very important issue, because many brothers and sisters, they don't have the 8,000 or 10,000 to make Hajj. And that's just the package. That's not including emergencies and souvenirs and other basic stuff. They don't have that money. Or I don't have the 2 weeks off or the week off. I only have 3 days off or 4 days off. So is it permissible to make Umrah first? Question number 1. If it is permissible, is it recommended mukhtar? Or should you save your money, save your 3,000, your 4,000, wait till next year, wait till the year after that, and make Hajj? Don't make a Hajj before Umrah. What do we say? Obviously, those who say that it is permissible, they say that one of the benefits of doing it is you prepare yourself. You get to go there, you get to see what it's like. This is the Kaaba al-Musharrafa, this is Mecca, this is the Ziham. شوف بنفسك تستعد معنويا فضلا عن الاستعداد المادي. You're there, you see what it's like to be in the Holy Lands. And obviously, it's not the same. And Hajj can be overwhelming if it's the first time you've been there. It can be overwhelming. So many people, they may say that it's recommended to make Umrah first. Let alone the fact that a person has the ability to make Umrah any time of the year. In general, like we said, Hajj is limited. Hajj is costly. Hajj, there's a cap on Hajjis from different countries. And things like this. Alhamdulillah, there are many good things that take place during Umrah, such as visiting the Islamic University of Medina. That's how most students, or many of them, got accepted. Myself, going there to make Umrah, meeting different scholars there, learning and studying. Many brothers, they became serious students of knowledge because of Umrah. And I'm going to say this openly, Abu Saeed, I'm not taking a shot at you, nobody. But I'm not talking about you going to make Umrah and that's your career, studying. I'm not talking about nobody specific. If the shoe fits, what? Then you wear it. I'm not talking about nobody specific. If that fits you, then that's your problem. I'm talking about you going to make Umrah, you sit with the ulama, the mashayikh, you feel what it's like to be in Medina, and then afterwards, you become a serious student of knowledge. And it's changed you. The Umrah changed my life. I can't go back to being a normal layman anymore. I can't go back to just memorizing just, I have to go to Tabarak now. I have to go to this now. I can't just go back to wearing pants. I'm not saying it's haram to wear pants. And I'm not saying that you can't be a student of knowledge if you wear pants. I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about the whole psyche of, this is my life. I'm devoting myself to dressing like a serious learning person. You understand? And I want to go to Yemen or Egypt or wherever you go to study. After that taste of the Umrah. And I'm not talking about somebody, when they're asked about their credentials, which is a sin, right? Yeah, so you can't ask them about their credentials. And if you ask them about their credentials, then it's arrogance in 2019, unfortunately. You be an imam of a masjid, run a dawah organization, rather you can be the leader of the Salafis in the West, and you don't have no scholastic resume. Wallahi, I don't know how that's acceptable. And I don't know, wallahi, I don't know how that is accepted. That's utterly appalling and frightening for there to be a scholar to call and to make someone the head and the leader of the Salafis in the West who has no scholastic resume. Wallahi, I can't wrap my head around that. A doctor, a scholar to say something like that. This is the leader of the Salafis in the West. طيب يا شيخ وما الذي يؤهله لهذا الشيء? What qualifies for him? Yeah, فضيلة الشيخ, may Allah bless you, preserve you. What qualifies for this? Where did he study Quran? Where did he study fiqh, aqeedah, tawheed? What formal education does this person have? What background do we know about this person? Where he came from? We know what I say. So that's appalling. And only Allah knows what's in the hearts of men and what's in the breasts of men, and the concept of master and servant relationship. In which you scratch my back, I scratch yours. I validate you, and you what? You validate me. Only Allah knows. Al-Muhim is, I'm not talking about brothers who, when they're asked, well, where did you study, Yahi? What gives you the right to do this class, or to teach this, or to refute this person? Say, oh, I sat with Sheikh Fulan when I made Umrah. I studied with Sheikh Fulan. I visited Sheikh Fulan over his house, and he knows me, and he mentioned me in an audio. What nonsense is this? In which you're now a learned person, a student of knowledge, because you made Umrah and you sat in a lecture that was a general, vague, 20-minute, 15-minute lecture with a translation. I was like, is it me? Tell me, am I tripping? How does that qualify you? This is the times in which we live, in which people, and it's not a student of knowledge saying this today. It's not a scholar. So it's a very sad time. The times in which we live. Umrah, going and studying with a scholar, sitting in a class in which half of it you can't understand, does not make you someone who's studied with the ulama. But it can be a what? A spark in the door. Now I have to go back. I have to go. I have to apply. I have to save my money. Everyone understand this? Many people, alhamdulillah, they go make Umrah and they get stuck there. Alhamdulillah. They go live overseas. They teach English, or they study, their kids memorize the Quran. It's a blessing for them through Umrah. Many brothers, they go make Umrah and they get married. They make dua at the Kaaba, Safa and Marwa. Or they meet somebody there. Oh, you look like a righteous brother, mashallah. Are you married? No, I'm not. Well, this is my beautiful daughter. Of course, after Umrah, Muhrim cannot, لا ينكح, ولا ينكح. Muhrim can't get married, can't marry others. لا يخطب المحرم. However, the concept of after the Umrah is done, the brother, he says, are you married? You look like a nice, handsome young brother, mashallah. You had a good character. This is my beautiful young daughter. She's looking for a husband. That happens. Brothers, they get married. They get the rizq because of Umrah. So Umrah is a blessing, okay? Umrah is what? It's a blessing. Right, so that's some of the spiritualities of Umrah and some of the technicalities. Let's get back to the book reading at a time. The author, rahimahullah, he says, يُحْرِمُ لَهَا مِنَ الْمِيقَاتِ وَمَنْ كَانَ فِي مَكَّةَ خَرَجَ إِلَى الْهِلِّ. The first ruling that he mentions is that the ihram should be made from the miqat, just like Hajj. What's the miqat for the Yemenis, Mukhtar? Miqat Ahl al-Yemen. ايش هو? We went over this. What's the miqat for the Shamis? What's the miqat for the Iraqis? Yalamlam. Ahsan. What's the miqat for the Madanis? Dhul Hulayfa. Good. What's the miqat for the Meccans? We went over this. Right. And if you live within the miqat, then what do you have to do?
Leave.
For Hajj, you have to do what? Just what? هذا هو. From your house, as we said. Here he says, وَمَنْ كَانَ فِي مَكَّةَ خَرَجَ إِلَى الْحِلِّ. As far as those who live in Mecca. And he then says, دُونَ الْمِيقَاتِ انتبه. قال في مكة. Then they go out to the hill, the unsacred place, or the place which isn't as sacred as Mecca is. The boundaries. You understand this? As we said last night, many things you cannot understand and implement unless you know about geography. You have to know about the location. Because those things in those ancient books of fiqh are not the same as they are what? Today. Or maybe they are, but it's a metropolis, it's cars, it's not the same. The roads, the signs, the trees, it's concrete jungle now. So you have to talk to the Meccans and speak to the people who work in the Hajj ministry, and they'll tell you, هذا الهد من هذا الهد فاذهب
التنعيم
هو هذا اللي أقصد، لكن هذه جهة واحدة. لنفرض أنك في زاوية أخرى من مكة، فهمت علي؟ خليك معي الآن. هذا الآن أنت سائر من المدينة إلى مكة، هذا الطريق. لنفرض أنك في زاوية بعيدة، أنت مكي ساكن في مكة، هل ألزمك وأقول فاذهب من تلك الزاوية حتى إلى مدخل الحجيج عن طريق المدينة، ولا ما في طرق أخرى؟ فهمتني؟ ما في مخرج آخر حتى أنت في الهل بعدين؟ فهمت قصدي؟ هل هذا ممكن الآن في السعودية؟ هل هناك طرق تخرج يعني من خلالها إلى الهل؟ المهم فهمت قصدي؟ هذا فقط طريق واحد. فهمت علي؟ طيب. So we said that you have to know the locations by asking the people if you don't have the ability to make the research yourself on what is considered the hill. And the entire city of Mecca or Medina, one may say that there are certain parts which are not a part of the Haram, even though it's still considered or called Medina or Mecca. Or the opposite, the parts which are sacred that you may not consider to be a part of Medina. Al-Muhim, the concept of globalization and the concept of Medina was small, Mecca was small, and then it did what? Expanded. Like the United States. You may say, I'm going to the international airport, but technically when you look on the GPS, the airport is what? Could be, Queens is different, perhaps, but Philadelphia, the airport is actually outside of Philadelphia. It's not a part of Philly. You're actually outside of the city. Toronto, many brothers, they told us about this, right? Different parts you go to the airport is what? Far from the actual city. Alright? So, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ أَهْلُ مَكَّةَ أَدْرَىٰ بِشِعَابِهَا. You have to ask the people who know about those rulings. Right? Inshallah. Listen carefully to the footnotes. He says, وَمَنْ كَانَ فِي مَكَّةَ خَرَجَ إِلَى الْحِلِّ. طيب. He says here, الحل هذا المحشي كلام المحشي الحل ما عدا الحرم وأما حدود الحرم فقال الإمام النووي قد اعتنيت بتحقيق حدوده فحده من طريق المدينة دون التنعيم عند بيوت نفاق وعلى 3 أميال وحده من طريق اليمن. شفت ما نجابك يعني شيء من جيبي، فهمت قصدي؟ ما أخرج عن كلام هؤلاء. هذه طريقة واحدة فقط تنعيم. تحسب يعني مدينة كمكة ما لها إلا طريق واحد؟ لا، يكون إيش؟ طرق
يعني
مخارج
يعني حدود الحرم هو حلا جميع
الهل. هذا بارك الله فيك طبع حجيج من المدينة.
نعم.
أكثر الناس يكون وافدين يقولون عائشة وتنعيم. هذا النووي رحمه الله يقول، شوف خليك معي، قال فحده من طريق المدينة دون التنعيم. هذا فقط طريق واحد المدينة. قال وهو على 3 أميال ماشي. وحده يعني الهل أو ما هو الحرم والهل من طريق اليمن من جهة أخرى من الجنوب. أهل المدينة جايين من شمال ولا لا؟ مكة في الجنوب. أهل اليمن هم جايين من جنوب إلى الشمال ولا لا؟ فأنت ما ولا لا؟ اليمن هذا الآن الجزيرة هي تحت السعودية جنوب.
نعم جنوب.
والمدينة فوق. فبالطبع يعني ما يكون طريق الحجيج مدينة نفس طريق حجيج اليمن أو الشام أو إلى آخره. هذا القصد، هذا المقصود. طيب قال رحمه الله وحده من طريق اليمن طرق أضاه لبن على 7 أميال ومن طريق العراق على ثنية جبل المقطع على 7 أميال ومن طريق الجعرانة في شعب آل عبد الله بن خالد على 9 أميال ومن طريق الطائف إلى آخره. وذكر هناك طرق. هذه التنعيم فقط جهة إيش؟ واحدة، وتكون طبعا أشهر شيء لكن ليس هو الوحيد. المقصود؟ طيب وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. So he says that those who live in Mecca, they have to go outside the hill, and obviously that's commonly known as Masjid Aisha. The Tan'im is well known. all of the cab drivers know it. No matter what language they speak, they'll all tell you, you want to make Umrah, they'll take you out there. قال ثم يطوف ويسعى ويحلق أو يقصر وهي مشروعة في جميع السنة. He says, then you make tawaf, then you make sa'i, i.e. يعني عن نفس منوال al-Hajj. Just so we explained the tawaf and the sa'i and the Hajj is the same as you do what? Doing Umrah. Same, no difference. Then you either shave your head or trim your head. In the same way that you did it for the Umrah that you made during the Hajj, or the simple Hajj. Last but not least, the last part of the chapter, he says, وَهِيَ مَشْرُوعَةٌ فِي جَمِيعِ السَّنَةِ. And Umrah is lawful and permissible to be done when? The whole entire year, he says. The whole year you can make the Umrah. You can make the Umrah. And that's the end of the chapter. وَلَلَّهِ الْحَمْدُ. After that is Kitab al-Nikah. We'll stop here tonight. Brothers and sisters, if you're making Hajj, if you know someone who's making Hajj and just want to study, please do not suffice yourself with just this. We've explained it in other classes, other lectures, and there are other speakers and people who've explained it, let alone the books and the articles, to make the Hajj and Umrah properly and to implement it properly. And with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all success.
يعني الحل هو يعني خارج الحرم تماما
هو
من جميع
هذا هو